Alice's Garden is a beautiful logic board game. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes about 30 minutes to play and is for adults and children ages 8 and up. The royal gardeners need your help fulfilling the Queen's wishes to create the most wonderful garden. The object of the game is to create the best garden, fulfilling as many requirements for the Queen as possible. Each player takes a personal player board, then puts all the game tiles into the bags according to their shape. The last player to have watered plants becomes the first player and takes the first player token. The game is played over several rounds and ends after a round in which a player cannot place a tile from the supply on their personal board. The players then tally up the scores, and whoever has the most points wins. The first player of a round can choose any of the bags except the single square tile piece. This player takes as many tiles from the bag as there are players and puts them in the middle of the table. This is the tile supply. For the first round only, also take one additional tile from the chosen bag. Exactly one tile will remain in the supply at the end of each round. Starting with the first player of the round, and in a clockwise order, each player takes one tile from the tile supply and places it on their personal board. You may rotate and flip the tiles any way you like. You may lay your tiles both on the grass and the chess path if these squares are not yet occupied by other tiles. But you may not place your tiles or any part of them outside of the playing grid. At the end of a round, one tile will always remain unclaimed in the supply. It can be chosen in a further round by any player, just like any other tile in the supply. The player on the left of the current first player becomes the next round's first player. They take the first player token and once again choose one of the 5 bags and add tiles for all players to the supply. If there are not enough tiles for all the players in the bag is put aside and removed from play. As the player boards fill up over the rounds, there will be fewer and fewer opportunities for placing tiles on the boards. But if players can fit a tile from the supply onto their board, they have to take it, even if they don't like it. Whenever a gardener is placed orthogonally adjacent to one or more other gardeners already on the game board, the player can take a single square tile from the bonus bag according to the number of adjacent gardeners. But don't place them yet. Bonus tiles are placed on the players' boards after the final round ends, but before scoring. If during a round a player can't place any tile from the supply onto their personal board, the game is over at the end of this round. All the players who can't take a tile from the supply during this round take a bonus tile from the bonus bag instead. When the game ends, all players place their bonus tiles on the boards if possible and tally up their points using the scoring sheet provided. The royal chess pieces love neatly paved paths. Players can earn 5 points for each chess piece on the central checkerboard path. Big, beautiful roses are the Queen's favorite. Players earn 1, 4, 9, 16, or 25 points accordingly for each area of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 squares with roses orthogonally adjacent to each other. Areas of more than 5 roses are counted as one area and still earn their owners 25 points. Mushrooms have magical properties, and that's why the Queen always wants them in the garden. Players earn 8 points for each column with 2 or more squares with mushrooms. It is not necessary for them to be adjacent to each other. The Queen does not want the garden to be overshadowed by trees, though it is nice to rest in a tree's shade. In each row with at least 2 trees, players count the distance between neighboring trees, with no trees in between them, including the squares with the trees, and write down the single longest distance from any row in their garden. The Queen has no patience for holes in her garden. Each empty area on the board, no matter how many squares it consists of, sets a player back 5 points. Even royalty can dislike excess, especially if it creates a messy garden. Each bonus tile players can't place on their board at the end of the game sets them back 5 points. At the end of scoring, the player with the most points is declared the winner and the Queen's honorary gardener. A solo game can be played in a similar fashion. by placing the 5 bags with the big tiles on your left side. A round is played in 5 turns. At each turn, choose 1 bag on the left side and draw 2 tiles from the bag. Choose one of the tiles and place it on your personal board. The effect of the gardeners is the same as in the basic rules. Put the bag and the remaining tile to your right. When all 5 bags are on your right, move them to the left side again and start a new round. If you can't use any more tiles from the bags on your left, the game ends. Tally up the score according to basic rules. As you can see, the rules are simple and clear, but it's not easy to win. Appease your queen and start growing her magical garden today.